Welcome to the Jeff Knows Inc. Entrepreneurial Show with your host, Jeff Lopes.
We're live in the Jeff Knows Inc. podcast. I'm your host, Jeff Lopes. Super excited to have on today. How are you, buddy? How's everything going with you, Eric?
I'm doing awesome, Jeff. How are you?
I'm really excited to have you on today. There's so many layers to your story and just your positivity message, who you are, your smile, how you inspire people, your journey, your new business, tons of layers today. I want to talk about what you're currently up to and what you're currently doing with the new business. And then we're going to get to your story and your journey and all that stuff. So let's talk about where you're currently at and what you're such a busy schedule right now. Let's talk about what you're currently doing right now.
Yeah, I'm in the midst of building our brick and mortar Legrand Coffee house shop, which is, pretty amazing that I am building this since I didn't have my first cup of coffee until August of 2020. But I was missing out on some good stuff. I'm glad I'm all over it. But I'm proud to say that, we've been in business with our online store for about 3.5, almost 4 months now. And, I wanted to take this brand nationally. And we've sold our coffee to all 50 states. And people know now Legrand Coffee, and it has a great message behind it.
Yeah, let's talk about that message. I think that's important for people to understand because when I was talking to one of your friends and your partners, and he was explaining the message about it's not even the coffee, it's about the atmosphere, what got you into that whole mindset. So let the audience understand what was the mindset before when you first originated this thought process.
I thought about my connection to the community. When people look at me, what do they see? How, when they think about me, what's their thoughts? And it's always motivation, inspiration, bringing people together, unity. And I'm like, what do people love and what do people need on a daily basis? What is it?
Yeah.
Coffee is what they need. So I said, you know what? I'm going to put my unique twist to it. And it was, we want to bring unity to the community with a daily cup of belief. When people don't drink my coffee now, it's going to be that daily reminder or kind of like a daily affirmation of, you know what? No excuses today. I'm going to go out there and be the best that I can be. I'm going to attack this day. I want to, I know everything that Eric is going through. So I'm going to make this day my best day, no complaints. And that's what I want to remind people when they need that little pick me up in the morning, when you first get up, or in the afternoon when you're all tired and whatnot. So that's how we created Legrand Coffee House.
With the word belief, and I'm reading on your shirt and everything like that, what does it mean to you? How can you put into words the word belief, and how do you explain to other people?
It's a funny story, actually. So when I got injured, everyone was looking for just something to grab onto, like, how are we going to get through this process? And I remember my coach, he was like, we have to believe. We're going to believe in God, and we're going to believe that Eric is going to be okay. Well, my friend, John Nevins, actually shared a story with him that I only shared with him, and it was the summer before I got hurt, so summer 2010. In our locker room in Colonia High School, where I went to high school at, there was always a sign, believe, that we used to hit before you go out the locker room onto the field. And I always used to tap the EL. I didn't tell anybody that, but those were my initials, Eric LeGrand. So I always used to tap the EL in the sign on my way out. I told my friend that story, how I used to always hit the EL before, the summer before I got injured. He was like, oh, wow, that's cool, blah, blah, blah. So when this happened to me and coach, said, we have to believe, my friend John told him the story, and it's just became a part of me. It's who I am, believe. My initials are right in it.
I love you saying that. And something I shared with your friend as well the other day is, like I was talking before we went on air, little history on my son and everything he's been through. And years back, and I have the post on social media, years back, I got these custom little wood signs made, and I put them outside both their bedroom doors, my daughter and my son. It says, believe in yourself. So every time they go to bed every night, and I for years been doing it, I make them say it to themselves. So we say it out loud 5 times. And I would do that every single night. And now it's been years later, and they still do it on their own now, which I love. That is because it's very close to my heart. So there's a lot of positivity there. I love that. Let's talk about your injury. When did this all happen, and how did it all come together? And then we'll get into your story prior to that.
My injury, October 16, 2010, happened at MetLife Stadium, running down the field to make a tackle in the fourth quarter of a game. And unfortunately, I put my head down thinking it wasn't going to be a tackle at all. Teammate tripped the guy up. Malcolm Brown twirled in the air. My head ended up going into the back of his shoulder blade when I thought it wasn't going to be a tackle at all. And I fractured my C3, C4 vertebrae, and I laid on the ground motionless. I thought I was going to die because I couldn't move and I couldn't breathe. And I didn't know where my life was going to take me at that moment. But through the grace of God, I was able to, have a lot of support and a long journey ahead of me. But, the trainers got me off that field in 7 minutes, and I was on my way to the hospital going through the scariest moment of my life.
When that all occurred, I mean, first off, who was there in your audience? Were your parents there? Like, who was there with you going through that? Because I mean, it's such an empowering moment, because it affects you, but just the emotional grasp, but everybody that loves you around you. Like, how was that moment when you sit back now and you could talk to your loved ones about that?
It's funny. That's why I truly believe that everything happens for a reason. That game, somehow I was able to finagle like 25 tickets. Usually they give us, our regular 4 that we're allowed each game.
Yeah.
But a lot of times, when your friends, from Florida or from Pennsylvania and their families are making a trip, you take their tickets.
Yeah.
I was able to get 25 tickets for this game. So I had, my mom was there, my dad, my family,
Wow.
friends. I even had the local pizzeria guy. So I had a bunch of people at that game, and it's crazy to say, all those people were there to witness, my last game ever playing. But yeah, it was obviously an emotional roller coaster for them going through that and seeing it. But yeah, I had about 25 people at this game.
So from the injury time to hospitalization, how long were you in the hospital? How many months, like, to the process of the rehab starting? I think this is a powerful part of it.
Yeah, I was in the hospital for about 3.5 weeks. I was in the hospital for 3.5 weeks. I was at Hackensack Medical, and then I was going to get transferred to Kessler in West Orange. I remember the first day I got transferred November 3rd. I spiked a fever, had an infection, got rushed out to the hospital, was there for another 5 days at St. Barnabas. And then I would join back at Kessler November 8th, and I didn't leave there until March 28th, 2011. So I was there for 5 months, and until I was able to now finally go home and adjust to a home life. So from the time I got hurt on October 16th to the hospital, and then to the rehab center, it was definitely from October to the end of March was a long journey.
Yeah. And I see, obviously, through your social posts and stuff, I mean, the journey is obviously continue with your rehabilitation. You're constantly working and improving and striding and getting obviously more positively closer to where you want to be with. When was that shift in your mind? And was there ever a shift? Were you always this positive, or where was that shift in the hospital? When was that moment where it's just like, I gotta believe in myself. I gotta take this to the next level. Like, when was that belief kicking in?
It was definitely in the hospital when I was laying there and just seeing the outpouring of support from me. So I've always been the type of person where if the job is for me to get something done, yeah, you're getting your all. I'm going to get the job. I'm not going to be the reason why something doesn't happen. Or like, that's just been who I've always been. Yeah. So now all these people are coming to see me. You got NFL coaches stopping by. Tom Coughlin was the head coach of the New York Giants. He came by. Andy Reid was with the Philadelphia Eagles at the time. He came by. All my friends that I haven't seen since elementary school, middle school, high school, they're stopping by. Random letters from this country all the way through out the world. And I'm like, you know what? It's time. Like, all these people are looking at me. They're going to be looking for you for inspiration and motivation. How can you give up on all these thousands and millions of people that are wishing you well? Obviously, no one would have faulted me if I did, but no, that's just not me. And that flip kind of switched. That I put my trust in God, put my faith in Him, and from there I said, whatever I can control, I'm going to control.
Who have been your greatest supporters? Who have been there? And I know there's probably tons and tons, and just by your tone right there, but your mom, your dad, like, who were the ones, friends that you could really say, man, they helped me through this moment right now?
My mom is obviously the number one, far and beyond anybody, because of what
I love that.
Sacrificed everything, stopped working, and learned how to take care of me. Slept on a pull-out cot for 5 months while we were at Kessler, and yeah, just everything that my mom was able to just do for me.
The love of a mom is so strong, huh?
Everyone sees me, when I'm on TV, the cameras, the podcast, smiling. No one sees the behind the scenes where mom's handling the insurance, getting my medication, like all that stuff, running the household. Like, no one sees that stuff. That's my mom. But obviously my aunt, my family, my aunt's the biggest prayer warrior in the family, my uncle, my sister, my nieces and nephews that keep me going. And I have a great group of friends. I'm proud to say a lot of times people lose touch with their hometown friends and people they grew up with. Now, not where I'm from. We're in our group message of 14 of us that we still talk, and we rip each other and have a great time every single day. I have a group of friends of college and teammates that I met and people that we've met along the way. I have a group of friends of that. So they keep me going. I have about 3 or 4 separate group messages of friends that just each and every day we have fun and we banter at each other and stuff. It's just, that's what keeps me going. And obviously just all the random people that have come along my way, and now they're part of my Team LeGrand family that have
Yeah.
supported me. So my support system just runs far and wide, and I'm so thankful for that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a testament to who you are as a person too, right? I mean, your attitude, your mindset, your heart. I mean, that attracts people.
It
So I
does.
mean,
I always say that.
it's that's the thing. I mean, there's I mean, injury aside, I mean, that who you are would attract those people anyhow, right? And
That's
then,
what I'm saying.
so I think it's just it's an amazing character of who you are and what you believe in. Let's talk about Eric growing up. Where'd you grow up? How many siblings you have? Like, how was your childhood growing up?
Yeah, I grew up in a single parent household. My dad moved out when I was 5 years old, but he moved into the town next to me. I always said my dad was there. My
Yeah,
dad was there for me. You know, he came to all my games. If I ever needed anything, he was there. But my mom raised me. My mom turned me into who I am. I had a sister who was 11 and a half years older than me that I
that's a
grew up.
big gap, huh?
Yeah, there's a big gap. So when I was 7 years old, she was going off to college. And then when
Wow.
she came back, got her home. When she came back now, I was in middle school, and stuff like that. So we were, far apart, but we still, remain close and whatnot. And yeah, I grew up in a town that is very diverse. I love to say that. You have white, you have black, you have Latino, you have Asian, you have Middle Eastern.
Yeah,
You get everything in my town in Avenel. And that's why I say, especially in the times we're living in now, when people sometimes they grow up around only one person. I'm like, I've been diversified. I've been
that's
around my whole life. I know this how white people think. I know how black people think. I know how Asian people think. People that believe in Muslim religion. I've been around it my whole life. So I'm like,
I'm exactly like that. I'm like, I grew up in Toronto, Canada, and it's such like a hot pool of just multicultural, right? I mean, a
mhm,
high school was just, it wasn't you didn't, it wasn't like a group of Asian or a group of black or group of, it was everybody mixed together. Everybody was just
mhm.
friends. It was a great culture. Like, my best man at my wedding is Jamaican. Like, it was just who you hung around with, who you grew up with. That was it. You didn't think about that. So now I'm very much like you. So you see all this hatred in the world and all this stuff. It's just like, wow, like, how is this happening? And I'm a strong believer, Eric, honestly. I talk about this all the time, Ashley. It all starts from no one's born racist, no one's born with hatred. It all stems from the parents. And I think if we could really grasp the hold of parents and educate them and teach them how to educate their kids, it will never change, but it will slowly start getting into more of the positive vibe. And I think right now it's just it's hard because kids are just, they're brought in, like you said, they're brought in to an area or grown up in an area where it's just they're in one culture or one society, and there's no diversity there, right?
Absolutely. And I've been in conversations before. Actually, recently, last month, I was in a conversation with a friend and just talking, and I was like, yeah, Ramadan is, coming up for the Muslim relief, and they're like, what is that? And I'm like, really? I'm like, it's like one of their holiest times of prayer and fasting. And then
Yeah,
like, oh, I never heard of that before. I'm just like, whoa,
that's
because
cool.
my whole life, growing up, especially when we were playing football and they were going through Ramadan, they weren't allowed to drink at the water, like just spitting out the water. Like I've seen that my whole life. Some people may have no idea what that is. So
That's crazy. It's crazy when you think about it, huh?
it really is. Like I've been around just so many different cultures and backgrounds, and
Yeah,
that's why I think I have that feeling. I know how to interact with so
yeah,
many
that's
people.
that's
That's why
me.
I
Yeah,
think people know how to they gravitate towards me because I just been around it my whole life.
yeah, I love it. I love it. So did you play other sports growing up, or football was always your go-to?
Baseball and basketball, and I actually thought that baseball was going to be my calling. I was a very good pitcher growing up in center fielder, batted clean,
Yeah,
batted clean up. Yeah, I was very, very good at baseball. But then freshman year, I got to play my last 3 games of varsity in high school. I played freshman basketball and freshman baseball, but during the baseball
yeah.
season, I got offered a scholarship to Rutgers. And from there, I was like, okay, that's my only regret in high school. I wish that I would have played all three for all 4 years, but I stopped baseball and I stopped basketball, and I just focused all on football, lifting, and all of that. I'm proud to say I only missed one weight room session in my 4 years in high school, and that was because I had to go to a math tutor. I literally committed myself to the game of football.
How is your involvement with the game now? Are you still involved? Like, I know obviously you do public speaking, do other stuff. And I saw some photos of you around a couple of the pro teams and stuff like that. How's your involvement? Do you give back to the schools, like talking to students in the football community, or what's your involvement with that now?
Well, yeah, I'm a sports broadcaster, so I call all the Rutgers football games and stuff. So
I didn't even know that. Okay.
Oh yeah, I'm a sports broadcaster. I do that too. I call all the Rutgers football games. I work the coaches radio show.
How long have you been doing that for?
Since 2012, I want to say. Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
With the Big Ten Network, ESPN Radio, Sirius XM Radio, breaking down college football. So I'm very heavily involved in the game of football still, because I always say football's made me into the man that I am today, and I love the game of football. So I'll never have any remorse towards it.
So what got you into that? How did you get? I mean, that's a different skill set altogether. The broadcasting and all that stuff like that, right? Breaking down the plays and all that. What got you into that? And how did that fall into your lap?
My whole life, actually. I said my career path for me was playing. Go to the NFL, go have a long career in the NFL, retire, become a sports broadcaster. Ever since I was a little kid.
Seriously, huh?
So when my career of football got cut short, I said, okay, maybe let's try out this broadcasting thing and get into it. And I had to learn, that's for sure. I especially doing a lot of radio stuff. I remember when I first started, I was fresh out of the program, and I started speaking in terminology that people would have no idea what was going on. I remember my partner, Chris Carlin, he looks at me, the play-by-play guy, goes, listen, Eric, I need you to speak football 101. I know a lot about football, and I don't know what you're saying. You think Harry, a 55-year-old grandma that's listening to the game knows what you're talking about? I said, okay, yeah, maybe I need to break it down a little bit more football 101 instead of talking about, Zorro and blitzes and all these stuff that I have no idea about. So yeah, it was an adjustment, and I'm going into this is my 10th season with the team, so it's pretty cool.
That is pretty amazing. Yeah, it is. So give me an understanding of a day-to-day in Eric's life, like just with your rehab, rehabilitation, like how much time do you put towards therapy and rebuilding yourself? Give me a day, an overall day. If I were to start off in the morning till night, give me a rough day in your life right now. This
is so crazy because pre-COVID, it was actually a lot more running around. Pre-COVID, I was get up in the morning, get dressed, get up, through my 2-hour process with my nurse, 2 to 3 hour process with my nurses and aides to get me up and ready, showered, all that stuff.
Yeah.
That's a process every morning, 2 to 3 hours. Then you get up, you do answer some emails and stuff like that, catch up on life. And then I was eating lunch and heading out to therapy sessions or a speaking engagement for the afternoon. My afternoon was either therapy or speaking engagements. Come home. Sometimes I have an event to go to in the evening, or speaking engagement in the evening, or sometimes I had time with friends. I would travel a lot more. All this was going on. But after, when COVID hit, it actually allowed me to step back, and I wasn't going anywhere. I was home. So now my life totally changed. Thank God I have the therapy equipment home to do what I need to get done. So I was able to do that. But I started listening to audiobooks, and it really got my entrepreneurship mindset going. And here we are creating Legrand Coffee House.
I love it. So in general, so you have this coffee house now. I mean, this is something you're obviously you say you're at 50 states right now, so it's growing pretty rapidly. You have your first brick and mortar. This is something you want to franchise eventually?
Yeah, we'll see what goes into it. I definitely want to have multiple locations if I'm running it, or if I franchise it out and other people are running them. But this brick and mortar is here right in my hometown of Woodbridge, New Jersey. But I plan on expanding.
When are you guys planning the grand opening of this?
So we're hoping that we open it up sometime in September, right around my birthday, is September 4th. So either right before or right after that time period, and really get it going for the holidays. And the best part about it, because I told you how I haven't had my first cup of coffee until August. I'm saying all the people that I hire, my baristas, they have to impress the boss. I never had the pumpkin spice lattes and the peppermint mochas. So I say, hey, I'm gonna tell my employees, your job is to impress the boss. Now I need to taste this stuff to see how it is that everyone's all hyped up about. We got to make sure we have a good product here.
So when you first did taste your first cup of coffee, how was your reaction with it?
It was funny. So I made sure I had it black. Can't be putting all the mixtures in the milk.
That's all I drink mine.
You gotta drink. Yeah, I drink it black, and I taste it. I'm like, it's kind of good, like flavored. Water smooth though, not like I was waiting for that dry bitter taste, but it was kind of good. I'm like, I can enjoy this, and then when you could actually really taste the flavor of the coffee bean when it's the black coffee before you put it.
Yeah.
This ain't some bad stuff, and so I drinking that, and then I tried some cold brew. I'm like, oh, this is good stuff, and then I'm really venturing into the iced coffee world. I'm like, all right, for the iced coffee, I don't mind mixing in all the sugars and stuff because it tastes just so much better. People are like, you're drinking milk. I'm like, I don't even care. But in the mornings, it's usually black. It's black coffee. Put maybe a little bit of half and half in there. So that's my hot coffee in the mornings. And then if I have some in the afternoon, I take some ice.
I love it. Where else does your entrepreneurial juices take you? Are you doing any other ventures right now, or is just more the broadcasting, the coffee?
No, obviously my motivational speaking career, but my T-shirt that you see I'm wearing, I actually opened up my own, a clothing line called Shop 52, which opened up in August of 2019, and we were able to, get our shirts out there. My first shirt that I made was a role model, but I wanted to put a unique, twist to it because I was looking for words that people describe me as, and role model came to mind, but I didn't want to spell it ROLE. I wanted to spell it ROLL because obviously and role model. Then my friend was like, you got to make the O the handicap sign. And I'm like, oh, that's good. So we sold a bunch of, after I've launched that, and a bunch of my celebrity friends were wearing it, posting it. It was just a great launch. And then just built into the Believe 52. We actually just launched last month our new shirt called Leave Your Mark. And it has my the wheelchair tire marks with the 52 in it going across. And it's all about leaving your mark in this world, making a difference, making an impact on somebody else. So, and kind of like an inspirational brand. So that's, something I have also that's been cooking in the kitchen. And I got things planned for the future. I can't tell you about them now, but I'm always up to something.
I love it. I'm just like me, man. I've been an entrepreneur for 25 years. So just always build and grow and try to do as many possible things as possible because I love building and growing things. With yourself now, with your as you're starting to get into this entrepreneurial juices and you're starting to do developing all these things, where is, like you said, like what I would say even time for yourself? Like when do you sit down and say, you know what, like sit back and enjoy this all, or have time to really be, life's been really busy right now. When do you have time to actually just sit back and really just vision everything and just enjoy it for a bit?
Those are my nights now. Usually before COVID, especially in my 20s, I traveled a lot. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I was in Miami, I was in Vegas, I was in Cali. I lived Mexico, Cancun.
And this is all for the speaking, or
this was just enjoying life.
Oh yeah.
I used to travel, vacation, all that just to kick back and just enjoy that. Now my time, because of COVID, I haven't been traveling like that. Honestly, at night, my night times are my time where I decompress, and I love my TV shows now. I get on Netflix, Amazon Prime, even the cable channels, and I watch a bunch of shows, and that's how I like decompress. And I get my group message with my friends, and we go back and forth arguing about what show's the best show and this and that. So that's my time for myself that I truly enjoy, just being able to kick back and relax once everything is done for the day and enjoy some TV.
I love it. Where do you see with yourself? Have you written a book yet?
I did. I came out with my first book in 2012. It's called Believe, My Faith and Tackle That Changed My Life. And then the children's version was Believe, A Victorious Story of Eric LeGrand. And I can't wait to, continue now, once I have my entrepreneurship dreams coming together. I can't wait to write my first business book.
I love it. How, when you did your book, did you do a tour of your book, or did you just, how did that all work?
Yeah, I have my writer of the book, my ghostwriter and all that type of stuff. That was a whole process in the making right there. That was wild. But the tour,
from start to end, how long did it take you with a ghostwriter? Because people that don't understand ghostwriting, it's a different world altogether.
First off, I think that guy still to this day knows more about myself than I even know. But Yes, I was able to work with him, and he was in San Diego, so I was in Jersey, and a lot of times we worked together at night. So he would call me at like 11 p.m. at night. It's 8 p.m. his time, and we would be on the phone until like 2 a.m. in the morning, just talking about interviewing, asking questions after questions. Then he flew out here, and he met with myself, my family. He would interview us for 8 hours for the entire Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, 8 hours. That's why I said
Wow.
I even know about myself. From there, he would go back, and then he would write up a chapter, send it over to my mom and I. We would read it, make our edits, and be like, no, 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 this is how it happened. Okay, yes, you got that right. Send it back to him. Then he would send it to the editor, and they had to confirm it all. And then back and forth, back and forth. And it took about 3.5 months, and it was just like, oh, finally, like we're done. But
So that's not bad. 3.5 months. You
it was a lot of work. We were
yeah.
moving. As I said, a lot of late nights. We were moving to get this book done. We released that September 25th of 2012.
And what made you do a children's version of it?
Because I feel like a lot of children, especially even more now than even back in 2012, they seem to take well to my journey, my story, and who I am and what I've overcome. Especially back, I was only 22 years old at that time too. So
yeah, you're still very young.
I wasn't exactly that much older than they were and what I went through and stuff. So they really, took to it. So it was really cool to be able to release a children's book. And then we did the little book tour, through different bookstores throughout New Jersey and having, the signings and stuff like that. It was pretty cool. Something I never really did. So I enjoyed it.
Do you have any hobbies something that you do, like you said, do for yourself? Any hobbies or anything you collect or anything like that? Just for the audience to get a different understanding of who you are.
I like to collect jerseys and autographs. Like I have so many jerseys in my closet. I was actually just going through them the other day of like, I got to start working on these and get these signed in front. Like I got my Steph Curry one framed here. I got my Ray Lewis one framed there. I got to get Michael Jordan's one framed. I got LeBron James signed basketball. Ray Lewis's helmets, right? Game 1 helmets over there. Like stuff like that. Like I love being able to have like jerseys and stuff on the wall.
I love it. With yourself, with your line, your belief, do you have a jersey, but part of it, or just t-shirts and sweaters?
We're just doing t-shirts and sweaters. Like in the past, when I first got injured, people created the Believe 52 jerseys.
I was going to say, yeah, I could see that selling.
They did that. Yeah, they did that. At the beginning, there was also people wanted the Believe 52 jersey, especially when they put the block R on it, like the Rutgers.
Yeah.
So those were cool. Yeah. So we'll see how we continue to adapt with our Shop 52 gear, but yeah, the jerseys are pretty cool.
Yeah. Through all the public speaking you did and all that kind of stuff like that, is there one or more moments that really stuck out? Somebody you talked to, or somebody, a school you inspired, and somebody came to talk to you after? Is there any stories that really took to you that somebody you really changed their life or changed their mindset with?
There was this one kid. This was way back early in my speaking engagement. I was speaking to a middle school, and I was up in the inner city of Jersey City, New Jersey. Yeah. And I got to speak there, and this one kid who was blind came up to me, and he was, I want to say 12, 13 years old, and he goes, Eric, your story inspired me so much. I may not be able to see you, but now I see the world as a better place after hearing your story. And I was just like take it back, because I was young at that. I was like in the very beginning, maybe 21, 22 years old. And when that kid said that to me, I was just like, wow, like that's special. Like
powerful. That's powerful.
Like this is you're in the right place. You're doing the right thing. It was like kind of like a confirmation. This is your mission here, Eric. This is what you're supposed to be doing.
I love that. It's so powerful, right?
Very, very powerful.
So with your how many business partners do you have in the cafe business?
Oh, we don't have many that are the day-to-day operations. Is still there. We're bootstrapped. We're not having too much. I don't want to branch out more until we have, obviously the storefront. But I got a nice little team between my media team, the marketing team, and our shipping team. We've been doing a lot of cool stuff to build the brand together. So we'll expand more once we have.
But do you actually have partners in the business, or is it just so how many partners you have?
Yeah, I brought some partners in. I want to take care of my family and friends. People that are close to me. I allowed them to come in on my first one. Just to the people that are near and dear to my heart.
I love that. You seem the type where, like, that's what I was asking you. You seem the type where you just
But I take
you
care.
you don't forget about the people that are there with you.
Yeah, I make sure I take care of people have done good to me, have been there since I was 5 years old, and people are there since I've been born. I make sure I take care of my people.
With is there any takeouts? I mean, obviously you said there's so many layers to what happened to you with your accident. Is there any takeouts or any times in your life that, I mean, you're very positive and it's hard to always be this positivity. Like, is there moments where you have through the journey have really felt that hard pressed, that it's almost like that I wouldn't say mental health, but almost like that depression or sadness, like why this happened to me or questioning why this happened to me. And I'll explain to you why. Because when my son was in the hospital, there was a big gap of time when I sat there and I'm like, I don't drink. My wife doesn't drink. We're healthy. We don't smoke. Like, why did this happen to us? Like, why is this happening to my kid? Like, why? And you question, why are we going through this? And then you realize that years later, like, it was probably the greatest thing that happened to me. It made me who I am as a man. And it made us such a strong, united family. So was there moments where you were just like, why is this happening to me? Like, how does this all come together?
I don't know if I said, why is this happening to me? But there's been moments where I was sitting here like, damn, I wish I could just do this on my own. Like, wish I could just get in my car, go meet up with somebody for lunch. Damn, I got to call somebody for this. I got to check on their schedule to see if they can work with my schedule. And like, it's like I've been there before, and like, that's upsetting, but I kind of get myself out of that funk because I realize I'm like, you know what, Eric? You should be thankful that you even have people to call that can do stuff like this, because you remember, and I remind myself of all the people that I met when I was in the hospital, in that Kessler mainly, of the people that don't have family, people that have left them behind, people that are living in one bedroom apartments with 7 other people living in there and can't get out of their apartment because the elevator is broken for 3 months ahead of a time. And I'm like, okay, Eric, yeah, you don't have it that bad. So that's like my reminder when I get in those like funks, like, damn, I wish I could do that, or damn, I wish I could be able to go here or do this and that. I kind of just remind myself, I snap out of it, snap out of it.
Yeah, I love that. I always ask, if something were to happen to you today, in a few words, everything lives you changed, in a few words, how would you want to be remembered and described by your loved ones?
I want to be known as a hero. Now my legacy, I want to be known as someone with the car, who dealt with he played the cards that he was dealt with, worked his butt off, never gave any excuses, enjoyed life to the fullest, the little things in life, appreciative, and also genuinely cared about people and their well-being, and just wanted to leave this world a better place instead of all the negative stuff. Be a positive influence in other people's life. That's how I want to be remembered.
I love it. I love it. Is there anything you want to tell our audience, or just in general, like a message you want to give to people that are, I mean, 2020 has been a really rough year for a lot of people, right? Is there a message that you could just sit back and just give and just let people see that there is a light at the end of the tunnel?
Sure, there's 2 things I want to say. 2 things I live my life by, actually. And I always say to everyone, be appreciative for the things that you do have. Don't focus on the things that you don't have. And if it's something you really want, you work your butt off to get it. No ifs, ands, and but about it. And there's a definition I want to leave with you guys that I live my life by, that was embedded in our head at Rutgers when I was there. And it really sticks to me still to this day. And it's the definition of success. And it's the peace of mind you get knowing you did everything you could to be the best you can be. I'll say it one more time. It's the peace of mind you get knowing you did everything you could to be the best you can be. So at nighttime, when you look at yourself in the mirror, you can say, you know what? I gave it my all today. There was nothing left I could give, whether if that's in school, on a work project, with your family, whatever it is. You gave it your all, you should be able to put your head down on that pillow at night and sleep at ease. And if you didn't, God willing, you wake up that next morning, when you look yourself in the mirror again, you say, you know what, today, I'm going to make today my best day. And watch when you start adding those days up day after day after day. Watch where your life will take you.
Yeah, the wins and wins. Take every day as a win and win. Yeah, I love that. I love that. It's so simple but so powerful, right?
Very.
I love it, brother. How could our audience get a hold of you, follow you? I mean, you're obviously on social media, and there's a ton of publicity around you. But how do they get a hold of you? They want to get a hold of you, or see you, or talk to you, or get you on their show and stuff like that? What's the easiest way?
Go to my website, ericlegrand52.com. From there, you can visit, me for speaking engagements, media request, visit our Shop 52 website there as well. And then if you want to get some of that, Daily Cup of Believe, our coffee is legrandcoffeehouse.com. Be a part of our movement and be a part of our journey, and just trying to impact this world. And also my foundation, Team LeGrand of the Christopher and Dana Reeve Foundation. Our mission is to find a cure for paralysis. So also keep up with us throughout Team LeGrand stuff. So you can find me on all those different platforms and also every social media that there is out there.
I appreciate it, brother. I want to talk about one last thing you just said there, and something I wasn't aware. When I do these interviews, Eric, for you to understand is, I try not to study the person. I try not to learn about the person. I want to be as curious as I can. So when I hear something, I just talk about it. So I think it gives more of a natural conversation than having set questions. Your foundation, when did you start that? What's that about? Let our audience know, because I think that's very. I want to learn a little bit more about that.
So the inception of Team LeGrand was in September of 2013, and it all started when I did a Christopher and Dana Reeve Foundation when I originally got hurt. Had reached out to me. They had this, support for me. Whatever we needed, they were there. Back in 2012, so many people were still asking me, Eric, what can we do to help? What can we do to help? What can we do to help? So I spoke with my mom, and I'm like, you know what? Maybe it's time for us to create that foundation that, so many people have told us in the past. And I remember saying, Mom, what's up with those Christopher and Dana Reeve people? Like, well, maybe we should partner with them. She goes, yeah, they've been there from the beginning. And I remember I said to my mom, I'm like, who is Christopher and Dana Reeve? And she goes, you don't know who Christopher Reeve is? I'm like, am I supposed to know? She goes, the original Superman in the 70s and 80s in the movie.
I got originals. I got original Christopher Reeve's statues, like of him up here.
I right behind your elbow, too, behind you.
There's another one there. Yeah.
And I said, Mom, you realize I was born in 1990. I'm sorry, I don't know who. Then I researched them. I said, oh, probably should know who that is. But
very, very powerful, man. I grew up with that, right? That was a huge part of my childhood.
That was January 2013. We spoke with them, got all set up, and then we launched in September of 2013. And I'm proud to say we raised over $2 million for spinal cord injury research. And we're today's care, tomorrow's cure. That's our motto, and we're gonna find a cure for this one day. But in the meantime,
I love how his wife has really taken that journey on to another level. Like, she has embraced that to the max.
She did, and unfortunately, she passed away a little bit after.
She has. So who's running the foundation? So is it his family that still runs it?
Yep, you got a few of his kids that are on the board, and
yeah,
it's just grown into a full blown of people just supporting the foundation. And
I love that.
Before he passed and whatnot, and just the spinal cord injury community. Unfortunately, like I said, he passed away. And his wife, like a year or two after. But
wow, okay, I wasn't aware of that. Yeah, I was aware of his passing. I wasn't aware of his wife's.
Yeah, so we're living his mission, and that's what we want to get a world of empty wheelchairs, and that's what we're trying to do. And I feel like the torch was passed on to me, and now I'm trying to live out his legacy.
I love that. On all our show notes, I'm going to put all information how to get a hold of Eric, like I said, through his coffee house, through his websites, through 52 Believe, all that stuff like that, to support him and support his foundation. And an incredible individual, incredible mission, incredible journeys on his way to do. And I mean, you're just on the brink of how many lives you're going to touch and how many people you're going to inspire throughout your mission. So I'm excited to see your journey, and I'm proud that we had the moment and to meet and get to know you. And hopefully this will be something of a friendship we could continue on, and hopefully we get your coffee in Canada here. I'm from Toronto, Canada, right?
Yeah, you said that. So I see the Blue Jays hat on right there. Even though it's all here, man. But it's all good. It's all good, man. Canada soon.
I love it. Thank you so much, brother.
I appreciate you having me on, Jeff.
Thank you.